greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 fantasy adventure film Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. The film is co-directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, and it stars Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Sophie Lillis and Hugh Grant. Now the film focuses on Chris Pine's character Edgin, who is a bard and a bit of a rogue. He is married with a daughter. We find out at the beginning of the film, and then due to one of his acts of thievery, I suppose you could say, his wife is unfortunately killed. So he has to raise his daughter on his own. So he hatches a plan with his gang of thieves to steal this artifact, and this artifact, if he successfully steals it, will bring back his wife. He'll resurrect his wife. However, he is double-crossed and captured and sent to prison with Michelle Rodriguez's character, Hodga. They get out of prison some years later and go on a quest to try and find this artifact once again and to retrieve his daughter from Hugh Grant's character Forge, who is a con man who actually has double-crossed them, and they end up then going on a quest to find everything they need in order to take down Hugh Grant and his evil wizardress Safina, who is planning to take over the realm. Right. What are my thoughts on Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves? Well, I have to be really honest here. When this film was first kind of put out there last year, it seems to be, it feels like almost 12 months ago, maybe a bit less, but I remember seeing the first trailer a good while ago, and thinking, how is this going to work? Almost, I mean, the Dungeons & Dragons films have not got a great track record on the big screen. I think that's fair to say. The fantasy genre is not exactly pulling up trees at the box office ever since the Lord of the Rings franchise. You know, I can't think of a really popular fantasy genre film that has done really well. I'm sure there are maybe some examples that have done pretty well. So I'm just sort of thinking, this is a brave decision. And it looked corny as hell, and I have to say I wasn't overly impressed when the first time I saw the trailer for this. I thought it was going to be one of those big budget flops that is kind of universally criticised by, you know, critics and film goers and all that kind of stuff. It just looked like it wasn't going to work. I'm happy to report that I was completely wrong. This is one of the most fun experiences I've had in the cinema in recent memory. I thought this was hugely entertaining and corny as hell, absolutely, but tongue firmly in its cheek, and it's just a thoroughly good time at the cinema. I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. I mean, I love the fantasy genre, you know, swords and sandals, fantasy, you know what I mean, and when they blend the two, all that kind of stuff, I love it. I can't honestly say that I'm a big Dungeons & Dragons fan, you know what I mean. I obviously know what it is and all that kind of stuff, but I love the fantasy genre. So I really am happy to report that this film is hugely entertaining and an absolute blast to watch. I thought the casting here was perfection. Chris Pine I'm a fan of anyway because I like Star Trek, and I think his James Kirk is brilliant in the rebooted Star Treks, and I really hope we do see more of Chris Pine as James Kirk. And his performance in this film is fabulous. He plays this roguish, charming bard who's fairly inept in many ways, but he's got an absolute heart of gold. He only wants to really do right by his daughter and Holga, who played by Michelle Rodriguez, who is, you know, they're very, very close friends. So he's very loyal. Even if he's not particularly bright sometimes. But I thought it was wonderful. He was like Han Solo in a fantasy film. It was great. And he was very, very funny at times as well. In fact, the whole film was very, very funny at times. It doesn't try to be overly comedic all the time. It knows when it's appropriate to do it. But the times when it does lean into the comedy, it'll have you chuckling. I mean, you could argue not every joke lands, but a big portion of them definitely raised a smile and a chuckle from me. I thought it was hugely charming, this film. I thought the presentation was fabulous. I thought the effects was really good. I thought the action sequences were brilliantly put together, and they were very, very entertaining. But I think key for a film like this, if they present you with characters that you enjoy and you like, the stuff in between the action sequences you're going to enjoy as well. And that's what I found out here. I really like the Cliff Bryan character, as I mentioned. The Michelle Rodriguez character, as Holga, as this barbarian, was fabulous too. Really good. It's probably the best I've seen her for years. Justice Smith as Simon, who is kind of like a failed wizard, who fits perfectly into the team. He's not very good at magic. And then we've got Sophie Lillis as Doric, who's like this changeling. She can change to like any creature sort of thing, who's a big addition to the team. And you like all these characters in their own way. They all contribute to the film. They all add something to the film. They all complete the team, which for me was like a big RPG player. You know, many RPGs, you've got teams, you know, you've got squads and teams, and you kind of fill them with characters that will bring you certain things like your mage, wizard, you know, your rogue or your bard, and your barbarian, and you know, your changeling or whatever you want to call them. You bring somebody with different skills to each part of your team, and that's exactly what this film understood about a good RPG, and it did it absolutely brilliantly. And I do want to give a special mention to Hugh Grant, who is sleazy as hell as the bad guy Forge, but hugely entertaining and funny at the same time. He's really good. I mean, for me, that's one of my only criticisms. Hugh Grant's not in it enough. I would have loved to see more of Hugh Grant. I thought he was really funny, and a really good villain. And they do actually have a credible, real, tangible villain to face off against, which is Safina, who is like this red wizard. She's powerful, she's evil, she's nasty, she's got her own agenda, and you feel as though, you know, this team has got their hands full trying to deal with her as well. So honestly, guys, this is definitely one of the biggest surprises, not just for this year, but the last couple of years. I didn't expect to enjoy this one. I thought this was one of those films that was going to come out, get bombed by critics and do terribly at the box office, and just disappear into nothing, and be like one of those films that people like Chris Pine and Hugh Grant and the rest of them would like to forget. But it's absolutely not. It's the complete opposite of that. My only disappointment with this film is it looks like it's not doing brilliantly at the box office, and it absolutely deserves to do that. So I urge you guys over the Easter weekend, if you want to go and watch a really fun and entertaining film, check out Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. I was really impressed with it. You know, I thought it was a great time at the cinema, and I had a ball with it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.